Hello guys and welcome to another Mad Chitty video. Today we're here in X-Plane 11 and even though I said in my last video that we'd be taking the A320 from Strasbourg back to Heathrow, I thought, you know what, let's go back out in the US. We haven't flown the 757 in this series yet, I don't think anyway, so I really like the 757, so I think it's pretty good. So we're going to be taking this plane here on Aurora flight 3109 from here in Denver down to San Francisco, so it should be pretty good. About 2 hours and 15-minute flight time today, and let's just grab a look at the flight today. So you can see here we are, 10,800 kilograms of fuel on board today, 757-200 cruising at 36,000 feet. And in terms of ground distance versus air distance, we're looking at a headwind of about 40 miles over the whole trip. Just have a quick look at the winds. Again, if they want to load in, there they are, about 34,000 feet. You can see pretty calm wind, really. Let's just go back to 12 o'clock Zulu, that'll be more accurate. You can see pretty calm wind, really. A slight headwind getting into San Francisco, but not too bad. And the significant weather, got a little bit of a jet stream. You can see we're avoiding that. That's flight level 310 and 330, so we're avoiding that. So that should be good. No ATC at the moment, but we are on VATSIM, so you never know. And that's about it, really. So, should be a pretty good flight. So let's actually get into the plane and start setting everything up. So cold and dark, as always. So let's go ahead and get the standby power into automatic and the battery on. That'll let everything power up now. I'm going to get the bus ties into auto and the external power on the emergency lights. And just let everything get fired up here. And just check the settings, make sure we're using the original FMC with kilograms. We are excellent, and we're on the latest air rack. There we go. So this can just head to the pause init page now. And we're going to go ahead and get our weights for today set up. And then we'll get on with the rest of the flight. So today we're taking 190 passengers. That should probably limit out at 170. So we'll match it up with the zero fuel weight. Fuel weight is 10,800 kilos today. And we're looking for a zero fuel weight of 78.2. So that is about 4,800. 80.1 actually. 4,600. There we go, 80.1. Optimise the CG. Looks like we've got a choice between 33 and 13. I'm going to choose 33. Go ahead and do some maintenance. Just make sure the aircraft's ready to go. And then we'll go ahead and hit the load button. There we are. So the plane's now being loaded. I'll just go ahead and... there you go. If I can just hold... reset the clock. And then hold it. Okay, excellent. This can go on to FMC, this can just sit on the progress page. Oh, it's not letting me access it for now, is it? Alright. So, we're here on the ground in K-Den for Denver. Now, the way this aircraft works, we'll go ahead and go up, actually. Nav, nav, nav. And then the way this aircraft works, there's no GPS on board, so you can't grab the GPS position. So, you have a choice. Either you grab the actual exact location of Denver Airport, or you get the exact location, which is a bit more exact, of your stand, and that's what I like doing when the coordinates are available. So Alpha 47 we are today, so I'm checking on the parking chart for this, and it is north 3951.2, north 3951.2, west 104. So you can see this at the moment matches up with Denver, roughly. 104 and 40.3. No, 40.3. Enter that in there, you can see it's exact. I put 3, but okay. So you can see it's actually exact as our last position. So that's what I'm actually going to put it. Okay, it's not letting me put point. Never mind, that's just what it'll be using then. It doesn't matter, it's a teeny bit out. But there you go, that's what we've got set in there, so that's going to start aligning now, and we're going to go from Denver to KSFO, San Francisco, and the route is as follows. So departing, with me using runway 34 left today out of Denver, departing north on the, and then it'll be north followed by a quick turn to the west. It'll be the course 6 with the VOAXA transition. And from Voaxa, or Voxa, it is Q 136 airway to OAL. OAL, and then it'll be direct to Inyo. There we go, that's in there. Activate, execute, and then the arrival. Planning runway 28 right today with the Archie transition, ILS 28 right, and it'll be the Diamond 5 with the Inyo transition. Execute that, make sure everything's all good to go. Everything's looking good, excellent. We'll keep an eye on that later. And we can't get our weights in just yet because we need to wait for the fuel to be completed. So while we're waiting for that, let's do our flows. So your damper can come on. These things need to come on. And hydraulic pumps will leave them. I like to put these into USB. I don't think it actually makes any difference. Auto, they're all on. Utility buses, we can turn them on. And that's all good for now. Fuel pumps can stay off. These are in the off position. These need to be turned on. And that little bong is about doing the safety demonstration. We won't do that until we're finished. I will just check that is what it is, right?
It seems to be a bit chilly in the cabin.
Oh, cold. Yeah, we need to turn on that. Okay. Altitude here in Denver is 5,400 feet, so we'll just tune that while we're here, just in case. And everything's all good there. And that can go into USB. Window heats can come on. Make sure it'll warm up the flight deck now. We probably should have done that before we started loading, but never mind. And trim air and recirc fans. Packs can go into auto. And then they'll just take care of themselves, and the rest of it is all good. So, now we've just got to wait for the IRSs to align. And while we're doing that, we can do our departure briefing. But first, actually, now the fuel's on board, let's get all our weights in there. We'll just grab the reserve fuel for today, which is going to be 1.4 at 1.6, which is 3. Cost index today is 35. I forgot to select it on my sim brief plan, so it says 10. Don't worry, it's 35. And flight level 360 on the cruise today. Average cruise wind to 323 at 032. And the ISO deviation today is +4. Okay, that'll say insufficient fuel, don't worry. +4 is because it hasn't done that yet, so it doesn't actually know how far we're travelling today. So that's all good, everything's all ready to go. Temperature select is a very long runway here in Denver, but we are quite high up, so 16,000 foot runway, so we're going to be using a temperature of 45 degrees, which is a small D rate, and the typical V speeds in this are 140, 145 and 150. There are some exact tables, but I need to still dig through them, I haven't done that yet. So, let's do our departure briefing then, I guess. So, I will start the recording on my tablet in 5. No, wait. And start 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. So you can see here we are parked at Denver, stand Alpha 47. We'll be pushing to the left of where we are right now, heading straight out then via 3 Whiskey it'll be. Via 3 Whiskey. And that will take us to Foxtrot, and then we're going to go down Foxtrot, Whiskey Alpha, runway 34 left. On the departure, it's the calls 6, so we'll be heading north and turning west quite quickly. Restrictions below 10,000 at foams, above 12,000 IPEL, above 14,000, above 16,000, and above 17,000 perfecto. And initial climb is going to be so top altitude is 230. Obviously, I'm just going to set cruise altitude because that is what matters when you don't have any ATC online. So 360, and before I forget, let's just get the radios turned on. That'll be useful. And you can see here, this is our route today, so we're going to be heading along just west the entire way, basically, and then down into San Francisco, landing over the bay. So it should be pretty nice. So there we go. So flight time back 2 hours 15 minutes. So there we go. Go ahead and finish the briefing there. So let's get ourselves ready. The IRSs should be aligned pretty soon. This can go to map mode and 20. And everything else is ready to go. This needs to go in weather and turbulence and +2. Let's just grab the weather for Denver quickly. Make sure that we're all good. The altimeter is 2976, so let's just tune that in there, 2976, and on the other side as well, 2976. The IRSs are in align mode, yes, so just need to wait for those. Hydraulics can come on now, and we'll get the fuel pumps on, because I'm going to start the APU ready for pushback. I'm going to get the APU bleed and the ISO valve on, and everything's looking good, so I think we're basically ready to go now. We just need to wait for the IRSs to align. They shouldn't take too long. We'll just make sure the parking brakes are set, they are, so that when we do the pushback, they don't start. We'll go RTO on the auto brakes, and then all we need to do now is head up to plugins and better pushback and start pushback.
Ground to cockpit,
You can
please
see,
show me where you want to go.
I don't know why, actually, that's our current. I want to change that to. Why can't I delete? There we go. And we'll place it there. And enter.
Ground to cockpit,
They won't start
tow
pushers
is driving up.
until we tell them. So, because obviously we're not ready yet. So, hopefully that will be all good. APU is obviously on. We'll get the APU gen turned on. And the aircraft should be on APU power now. Also, it's actually, I've only just noticed it's -1 degrees outside, so it's a bit chilly. PA, we'll go ahead and do our safety briefing. Is that what they're asking me about?
Sir, I think you should increase
Yeah.
the temperature at the
Oh.
back.
No, we're okay. We're okay. We'll go safety demonstration.
Ladies and gentlemen,
We'll just check quickly.
request your full attention as
Okay, yeah, so the back is in auto look, so it should start heating up. It's 18
features
degrees
of
actually, so it's okay.
when the seat belts
We're
sign
alright
are
for temperature.
You must fasten your seat
So you've got signs on, no smoking signs on, and we're all ready to
Okay, all
go.
doors and hatches are closed, ready to connect.
Well, for some reason, the IRS is still haven't aligned, which is weird actually. We've been going 12 minutes in this video, so they should be basically done. I guess I've got the aircraft ready so quickly that we've beaten the IRSs to it. Runway heading is 353, so that's what we'll set in here. And then we just have to sit here now and wait. It's weird. I don't normally have to wait that long for the IRSs, so I'll keep my eye on it. Because it's a bit weird that they're taking this long. So you can see, let's get everything cleaned up around the aircraft. So shocks off, luggage loader,
So
gate
connected
config.
and bypass pin inserted.
Oh no!
Release parking brake.
What? Why are we on? Why did the bus ties turn off? Why did they do that? Okay, that's interesting. The bus tie just decided it'd be interesting to turn off then. Luckily we didn't lose anything, and the yaw dampers are off. We'll keep an eye on that on departure. That was weird. The bus ties just turned themselves off. Well, oh well. It doesn't matter. Right, the IRSs have now aligned, so that's good. Right, we'll just check Denver. Just check that X-Pilot is picking up my voice. It is. Denver traffic, Skyways 3109, pushback Alpha 47. We'll taxi 34 left. Okay, parking brakes released.
Starting pushback, and you may start engine.
And back we go. That was a bit of a weird one, wasn't it? Oh, I need to shut the doors actually. I'm stupid. Right. Quick. Shut the doors. There we go. And I haven't actually disconnected the jetways. Clear jetways. There we go. That was my mistake. Right, so we had all that time and I still forgot the jetways. Okay. Right, nothing in the centre tanks. We don't need those pumps. And where's the engine switch? There it is. And get that up on there so we can monitor the engines. And we can get the flaps set to 5 degrees for takeoff because the hydraulics are on. Right engine, introduce fuel. There we go, it's going to start heating up now, and back we go. LNAV. Okay, yeah, flight directors first. Flight directors left side, right side, and then LNAV and VNAV can be armed. Amazing. And back we go, and you can see the safety demonstration is still in progress as we depart Denver. And you can see IRS nav only, that's just why it finds a frequency to tune. It probably found one by now. Flaps set to 5 degrees, you can see there it is tuned to some sort of frequency there. Right, and the engine has started, so we're going to go ahead and start engine number 1 now.
Thank you.
Excellent. So we're pushing back now. Back we go. And we'll introduce fuel on the left side. And the aircraft is now powering itself up on the other side. And we can get the engine gen on the right side turned on, because the engine started on that side. Still waiting for the other side though. And then everything should sort itself out then. So you see there, the left engine is starting up now nicely. And pushback's basically finished now. There we go.
Complete.
Set
Set
parking brake. TCAS can come on now. We're on
Disconnecting
advancing,
tow.
so
Stand by.
turn it on a bit earlier than you usually would. Engine page can just go off now. We don't need that anymore. And the left engine is basically finished powering up now. We just need to wait for it to fully finish. As the switch gone? Okay, the switch has gone into auto, so we are ready. Left gen is on. Plane's flicked over, so we can go ahead and turn off the APU. And the left engine gen's on. APU gen off. Disconnect that other bleed. Sorry, not gen, bleed. That's set up. We'll wait for the APU gen warning light to come on there, then we'll turn off the APU generator. Just do a quick recall check. All good. So we're all ready for departure today. Make sure this is in 10 nautical mile range. Ready. And in terms of our departure today, it's going to be...
disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand
going to be
signal
runway
will be on the
heading
left. We'll see you
till
next time.
6,000
Have a
feet.
safe flight.
Runway heading till 6,000. So that's the plan for today. It will to be exact 5,934. And then we start the left turn over to Foams. So there we go. I think everything's all ready to go now, isn't it? Oh, beacon lights, fill up those. We'll get those on now. Don't worry. Haven't forgotten just yet. And you can see there, the cabin's a very nice 21 degrees, so it has heated up nicely. The pushback tractor is gone. Denver traffic, Skyways 3109, taxi runway 34 left. Right, APU gen can come off, and parking brakes released. Let's get going. Everyone, let's get out of Denver and on our way to San Francisco. That should be nice, right? We have actually got a plane. There's a Saab 3340 on approach to Denver, but it's 87 miles away and it's a Saab, obviously, so it's going to be going very slow. Propeller aircraft. All working. Just check the brakes are working. They are. Excellent. That means the rudder and the brakes are working. Obviously, that's very crucial. Ever since I plunged this aircraft off the runway at Madeira after setting it up because I didn't have my controls mapped properly. That's why you should check your controls even in a flight sim. You know, you should always check your controls. I mean, even if they can't brake like they can in real life, you can still have a controller that's broken, for example. Right, everything's all looking good at the top there. Just a quick recall check now. Everything's all settled. You can see there, all clear, all nice, ready to go, and we're ready for a nice departure. So we're heading out of here now. We're going to pass 3 Whiskey, and then we're going to make a left turn onto Foxtrot, and then a right turn onto Whiskey Alpha. But first, we've actually got to get out there first. Actually, this is just the we're still on the concourse apron bit right now. Take a little look outside at this lovely plane. I absolutely love the 757, especially in that Aurora livery. I really like the Aurora livery, got to say. But the 757 has been my favourite plane, I think. You know, it's one of the big benefits of X-Plane. There isn't a decent 757 for FSX. There is for P3D, though. So, you know, it's not all bad. But yeah, FSX doesn't really have a decent one. But yeah, Flight Factor is an amazing development company. They also make the 767, which I don't think you can get one. Can you get a 767 in P3D? I think you might be able to. But I think they're both made by Captain Sim. Like, even though I think Captain Sim's products are quite good, I haven't heard best things. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Flight Factor whatever it is, Flight Factor makes some pretty amazing aircraft. Right. We're going to make a left turn onto Foxtrot, and then we're going to go down Whiskey Alpha to the runway, and then it'll be a nice straightforward departure out of there. So Apparently there's 3 planes on the ground here in Denver now. There's another 2 planes. There's a Frontier and a SkyWest. And the Saab is on approach, but that is currently still at 20,000 feet, so we're not worrying about that just yet. And this is Whiskey Alpha here, I believe, coming up. Yep, you can see the lovely taxiway signs. That's my favourite thing about X-Plane is the quality of the default sceneries. I don't know about P3D, I've never played it, but it's miles ahead of FSX and miles ahead of Microsoft Flight Sim, to be honest, is the worst out of all the default sceneries, because not only is it inaccurate by default, like FSX would have been accurate when it came out, it's just not accurate anymore. Well, that's another strength of X-Plane, actually. They do, I don't know about, again, I don't know whether P3D do this, but X-Plane, the sceneries get updated all the time by the community to make sure they stay up to date. But I think it's amazing. Right, runway turn-offs on. Line lights on. Again, also, I don't know if anyone knows this who's watching, but the runway turn-offs, are they like the taxi lights? So you turn them on when you leave the apron and you turn them off before getting to the runway? Or do you turn them on when leaving the runway and then turn them off after you've departed? Just got a little insufficient fuel message there, I don't know. It thinks that, obviously, we entered 3 as our reserves. I have got a note of our fuel will be slightly inaccurate for today's flight because I totally forgot about the cost index, so it's planned 10, not 35. Denver traffic, Skyways 3109 are taking off 34 left, cause 6 departure. Excellent. So we're ready to go. Everything's all set up. The TCAS is on and ready to go. Just take a quick look. There's no one on approach. And we can line ourselves up on the runway and get out of here. We're actually a little bit early as well. We're supposed to be pushing back around 2 o'clock, 10 past 2. And we've beaten that, so that's nice. Half an hour is always a little bit, it's always quite a long amount of time. I just did it because of, wanted to make sure it was accurate. Right. Takeoff power. So 40% is set. Clock start and thrust power. But I've moved up the throttle just to make sure we don't lose power after takeoff. And away we go. Mostly full power, but not quite. It's a 16,000 foot runway, this, so I don't think we'll have any issue. Airspeed's rising. And there's 80 knots. And then this is where it starts to get quite slow, the acceleration, but obviously this being such a long runway, I'm not so bothered. I was departing a bit of a larger airport yesterday, a bit of a smaller one, to UC Galpa, and that needed full power. Right, V1, rotate. You can see plenty of runway left, and it was quite a long takeoff run. Positive rate, gear up. Won't be able to hand fly this thing for very long because obviously I'm using a joystick, remember. But pretty good. I'm getting the hang of it, as I said. You know, you just got to learn to be a bit more gentle. Right, I'm going to make a left turn now out of the airport towards foams. Make sure the aircraft's got foams in its thing. There it has. Excellent. And start pitching the nose up a little bit. And flaps 1. And we'll go ahead and get the autopilot in. All the brakes have disarmed themselves. Denver traffic, Skyways 3109 airborne. Alright, cool. So ignore that. So it'll keep saying that, I think. Right, and we can go flap 0. Go direct foams now. There we go. And up climbs the aircraft now. Runway turn-offs can come off. And Denver being such a high-up airport, it won't be long before we're turning off the landing lights either. You see, there we are, out of Denver. It's got a bit cloudy now, so we can't really see much. But there we are, out of Denver. You see there, the plane's speeding up to about 240 knots, and then it'll start its climb again. This can go up to 40 nautical mile range, and we'll make sure the weather radar is on and it's searching for traffic as well. And then we'll set the heading to 264, which is our heading after phones. 264. There we go. Excellent. And we have made a nice departure out of Denver. That is it. 10,000 feet are passing now. We need to remember, we need to stay below 10,000 until phones. That's the reason for the aircraft just levelling off there for a little bit. So you're kind of in like almost like a mist. I don't know what the weather report for Denver, I thought looked quite clear. Few clouds at 9,000, few clouds at 20,000, 0 degrees, and the temperature, the QNH is actually not QNH. Altimeter has actually changed to 2978. So there we go. And then, yeah, once we pass phones, we can then resume our climb out the airport. There we go. Landing lights can come off. And I'll idle the power on my joystick now, because we don't need the yoke on there. Not the yoke, the throttle. We don't need the throttle on there, so we're good. Just moving the wire there. Right, aircraft. The speed is coming up nicely. We'll just check what we're planning about Mach decimal 8 today. That's perfect. 798. 797. That's perfect. That is. Oh, it was a bit of a discount there. We'll just sort that out. I didn't see that when I was flicking through the route. Oh, it's because it's at the top of a page, so it's quite difficult to notice. There we go. Up we go then. We've got to full speed and we're climbing out of Denver, and then once we pass 18,000, I'll go ahead and resume the recording at cruise. It's actually plus 3 degrees out here, and then a little weather refresh there, so you can see it's actually a bit clearer now. There we go, look at that. That looks nice, doesn't it? I love X-Plane. Honestly, I think this game looks amazing. I think it looks absolutely awesome, this game. As I said, to get Microsoft Flight Sim to this level of looks, you know, I would need a much more powerful PC. It's amazing. Because remember, I only have 3 gig of VRAM in this thing. That's why Microsoft Flight Sim doesn't run that well on this PC. Runs fine on this game, though. I mean, I'm in a little bit of fog right now. It's got some mountains, got a big airport, and I'm recording, which is using up 10% of my CPU right now, and I'm getting 45 FPS. It's pretty and that's with an add-on aircraft that has loads of detail. The aircraft in Microsoft Flight Sim are not as detailed, so therefore run a bit smoother. They should anyway. But yeah, so we climb now. All the way up to flight level 360 today. It is our optimum cruise level according to the plane, which is good. It agrees. This can go to 80 nautical mile range now. Why not? I'm almost at 18,000, which is when I'll go ahead and lock the seatbelt signs. It's a little bit foggy right now. I don't know, the X-Plane weather refresh is constantly kind of trying to decide whether it should be a bit foggy or whether it should be a bit clear at the moment. I guess maybe the weather's a bit like that in Denver right now. Right, coming up to 18,000 feet. Doesn't take very long, especially out of Denver, because you already start from 5,000 feet. Right. Altimeter, oh, that's the wrong one. I always use the wrong one. 2,992, and again 2,992. Set in there, and we're above the clouds, looking pretty clear on the weather radar. We'll just set 0 on the weather radar, and we'll go ahead and turn off the seatbelt signs. There we are. And there we are. I'm very happy with that. Out of the airport. That looks nice out there, look at that. -7 outside, so a little bit chilly, but to be honest, it's only dropped 8 degrees, because it was practically 0 degrees in Denver, so 20,000 feet up, and it's only 8 degrees colder than it was on the ground. That's pretty good. Wind's pretty calm at the moment. It was looking pretty calm until we got close to San Francisco, then it was starting to pick up a little bit, so we'll keep an eye on that. But there we go, I think I'll resume this at cruise. Here we are, guys, at cruise level, flight level 360, and I don't actually know how long we're going to be here for, because the 757 only tells you when you're 200 miles away from descent, when you're actually going to be descending. But all I do know is our ETA is 4 o'clock Zulu, so in about an hour and 38 minutes time. We've got 730 miles to go, and we're currently cruising at Mach decimal 797. And we've got 6 miles left to go to our next waypoint, which is Alf. And we're looking pretty good, 20 minutes into the flight, and we're up at cruise altitude. So, I think we'll have a bit of have a quick cruise montage, and then I'll see you when we eventually get around to descending. And again, with the cruise montage, I'd like to get a cabin view in there, but I'm just going to see if I can unlock the door first to allow me to go out there. Is that how I do it? Just click unlocked. Excellent. Okay. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the montage and the flight. Right, guys, here we are then. Got through the whole of cruise. It's been about an hour actually since I last had it, sort of had the recording. So it's, you know, not a massively long flight this really. So 210 miles left to run now, and we'll be descending in around about just under 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and start the approach briefing on my tablet. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, we are planning today the ILS-28 left into San Francisco. We're going to be taking the Diamond 5 arrival. ILS-28 left. So we're planning 28 left. Turns out was the one on the passenger side of the airport, so that's what we're using. And got a couple of restrictions. Now, you can't enter at, you have to be above and below a certain altitude at a waypoint. You can't enter that in the 757. So what you'd normally do, for example, lane above 220, below 260, what you'd normally enter is below 260, but because this aircraft was saying we would be at flight level 200 at lane with no restrictions, that means we'd be stuck at 220 for a bit if I entered in 260 or below. So to make sure we can get the continuous descent, I've put in 220 or above. So I've already sorted that out, all the waypoints up until Archie, they're all correct. And then we go on to the ILS-28 left from Archie, we join it at about 25 DME, and then it's a straight arrival into the airport. So pretty normal. We'll just check now, make sure it all looks good, and make sure there's no discontinuities with any of it. So you can see here we are, just coming in to the ILS and joining it, and then straight into the airport. So nice and simple. arrival today. Nothing is seeming to be joining us in San Francisco. There's something that's going to be there about 15 minutes before us, but nothing crazy. We'll just check the ILS frequencies actually. 109.55, so 109.55, and the course is 284. And decision height is what we have to enter in this aircraft, which is 776. Wait, why are there 2 listed there? That's a bit weird, because they both say straight in landing with the ILS. One just has a 1 next to it. Is there a little... There should be a little box somewhere telling us what that 1 means, I think. Missed approach, there you go. So it's basically, depending on what your missed approach minimum climb is, you can choose... You can see we can easily do 330 feet per nautical mile, meaning we can have the 200 decision height. So that's all good. Runway... no, airport elevation is just 13 feet, so we're going to go ahead and set the landing altitude all the way down to about 10 feet it'll be. 10, there we go. So that's everything set in there. Transition altitude is 18,000 feet, and that's all fine. We're looking at the weather. The altimeter is 30... Oh, I just knocked something. Oh, there was a landing light. Altimeter is 3010, 280 at 6 knots, and the skies are clear, so very nice calm day. Once we're at the airport, we're going to land on 28 left, vacate probably on Kilo or any of the... Well, that's not Kilo actually. Any of these vacating points along the runway will be good, and then we're going to taxi in via Link 7, is what they call it in the UK. I have no idea what they call it out here. I think, is it like... So you go taxi lane 7. And then we're going to park at Echo 6. So that's the plan for today. And we're just, actually still 40 miles away from descent. So there's that. Going to go ahead and set the altitude now to our initial descent level, which is going to be 220 today. Actually, because they're all above restrictions, I'll set it to the first... Yeah, we'll set 220, because I know the plane's going to be below 270 at Diamond. Is it Diamond, actually? It's not really Diamond, is it? Is it Diamond? I have no idea what word that's supposed to say. Maybe it's Diamond. Who knows? Anyway, I'll pick up the recording when we're passing through about flight level 200. So here we are, guys, just passing flight level 180 now. So a bit of a steeper descent right now, actually, so the aircraft can reach its required speed in time for the flow's waypoint. It's actually above flight level 140, no, 14,000, so not really an issue. Just for the weather, make sure we got accurate. It is altimeter 3010 right now in San Francisco, so we'll go ahead and set that now. Seatbelt signs are already on, and the landing speed is already set. Flaps 20 today, and a speed of 139 knots. Normally flaps 20 is the preferred kind of setting for landing in this thing. Otherwise, as you can see, the landing speeds tend to go very low, like below 130 knots in some cases, which I don't really like. I think that's a teeny bit too slow. So I like to do a bit of a faster approach, about 140 knots, typical of what you get in maybe an A320 or something like that, which is fine for this aircraft. But if you go a bit slower, it does get quite close to stall speed, that's why. So we're descending to 14,000 or above at flows, and we'll need to descend then at seeds down to 250, and we're going to be below 12,000 feet. So, and that's the altimeters are all set now for San Francisco, and we're already, nothing's approaching San Francisco. There's currently one plane departing on the ground, so we may have to watch out for that and see what it's doing. Haven't heard anything off it on Unicom yet, so we'll see. Right, coming up to flows now. Let's set down the next wave. The next altitude is we've got to be above 10,000 at seeds. So we'll watch that. Keep an eye on that. Make sure the plane knows what it's doing. You can see the plane is going to hit 10,000. I will just change the restriction at seeds now to above 10,000. There we go. It doesn't really make much of a difference, just kind of helps with the descent profile that the plane's going to have, because we'll be slowing down as well to 250 knots as well. So we want to make sure that it's all good. So the plane's met 14,000 feet, it flows, absolutely no problem. So we continue to descend into the airport. Got a bit of terrain we'll be flying over. It's about, looking at the contour lines, about 4,000 feet, so it shouldn't be an issue for us. That's the mountains you see just down there. We're not going any lower than 7,000 until after we've passed those mountains, so, and that's around the waypoint Archie. Right, down to 20 nautical mile range on here. Everything's all ready to go for the landing now, so just about getting everything ready now. Auto brakes can be set to 2. We've got quite a long runway down in San Francisco. It's 11,300 feet, so not quite as long as Denver, but easy enough to land this thing with auto brakes 2. Easily enough. And then we'll start to slow this thing down when we're about 5 to 10 miles from seed, so I'll probably take manual control of the speed, because this thing doesn't like to slow down that much. It tends to leave it right till the last minute to start slowing down, which isn't the best. And the airport is literally at like 13 feet, so we'll be landing pretty much at 0 feet on that altimeter, so we've got to descend all the way. Oh, I don't know why I'm doing a quick right turn. I'm just going to set the heading now to runway heading as well, which is 284. The altitude of interception for the glide slope is 1,800 feet today, and our go-around altitude is 4,000 feet if we need to go around. So everything's all set. The weather's looking very calm though down in San Francisco, which is lovely. As I said, we've got 10 degrees, clear, and 6-knot wind. So, and it's a bang-on headwind for the runway as well. So pretty nice weather, really. And we're approaching 2 hours on the flight time now as well. This plane got its ETA into San Francisco a little bit wrong, so obviously our ETA was about 16:02 previously. It's now dipped back a little bit, which, you know, this plane does things like that occasionally, but never mind. Just a little KSFO traffic, passing 11,000 feet. ETA is 1610 Zulu, will say, and obviously ILS 28 left. Will report established. Excellent. So I'll send that on Unicom. From now on, my comms will be on voice for Unicom. Right, this thing should start slowing down now. I'm going to take manual control of the speed because this thing doesn't want to. Down to 240 knots, we can get the landing lights on as well. There you go, the speed is dropping back nicely without the need of speed brakes or anything, which is great. So we're just slowing it down manually, really, just making sure the plane knows what it's doing. This plane isn't always the best at slowing down. We're going to arm the speed brakes, as I don't think we're going to need them, to be honest, on this arrival. I think we should be okay, and we're going to set the ILS glide slope altitude in there now, because otherwise we'll just be constantly adjusting at every waypoint. We don't want to be doing that. The plane will manage it just fine, because they're all at or above waypoints pretty much from here. We're still 39 miles away at the moment anyway. We should be able to see the bay at some point. We're going to be approaching directly over the bay and touching down, so it should be pretty nice. I've never actually been to San Francisco in the flight sim or in real life, but it would be nice to land there. Right, then we're going to slow down to 240 knots, and we need 230 knots then at freely, whatever you call it. There you go, we've now passed 10,000 feet. You can see we're staying underneath that 250 knots, although we are struggling to slow down any more, so maybe we'll have to keep an eye on that. I think we will have to deploy the speed brakes, possibly. I'll keep an eye on it, because we can't deploy flaps to slow down at the moment. Right, 230 knots in here now, and then this thing will pitch to allow the speed to drop even more, but it does mean then that we start to lose our descent path. so we'll have to keep an eye on it. And the aircraft might have got the ILS, I don't know. We can check. There you go, because it hasn't got the ILS yet, but it's recognising that we've got one. I was wondering because I thought that might have been a glide slope or something. No, it's okay. Alright, we're all good then. We've got to be at 7,000 at Archie, so that's one waypoint we need to stick to. 10 nautical mile range in here, so we can see exactly what we're doing a bit more clearly. Weather radar can get a +2, make sure we're not picking up any weather, any ground, anything off the ground. There is the San Francisco Bay. We're approaching quite close to, I think it's over Oakland, this area, because they've got Oakland Airport just further down there. There is actually a Southwest heading in there as well. There's 2 planes right now on the ground departing San Francisco as well, so we'll keep an eye on that, but nothing approaching. We have got the Southwest approaching to Oakland, quite close to us as well, so we'll just have a little, we'll keep our eyes out. There you go. Going to positive temperature now, so no clouds in the area anyway, no rain, no nothing. It's a lovely day here in San Francisco. I mean, 10 degrees may not be lovely in a lot of people's minds, but I actually quite like it. 10 degrees is quite nice. The weather's actually just refreshed. It's actually 13 degrees now. The wind's actually up to 13 knots, and it's a bit more of a crosswind now, so... But X-Plane weather is a little bit outdated, and that weather is literally from 10 minutes ago, so we may not be getting that weather. Although, judging by that, it does actually look like quite close. Right. Approaching Archie at 7,000, so the plane's done that perfectly. Just going to start slowing it down a little more now, to about 210 knots, just to make sure that we are good in terms of the descent. There is the Southwest descending into Oakland, so we'll keep an eye on that. They're a bit below us actually, so there shouldn't be much of an issue. They're so close together, Oakland and San Francisco, it's nuts. 2 quite major airports. They're separated by this bay. I imagine their airspace gets pretty busy. Right, we're going to go flaps 1 now, just to help the plane slow down a little bit. And the plane's just doing a very steady descent now. Slowly but surely into the airport. And it's basically just a gentle descent from 6,000 downwards until we pick up the glide slope at about 1,800 feet. So pretty good, really. And we're about, yeah, 21 miles. Actually, that's not accurate, though, because we're picking it up at 25... No, yeah, 21 DME, not 25. I read that wrong earlier. 25 is the waypoint before, so it is accurate. Right, let's go ahead and arm the approach. And there you go, the plane's got the localizer straight away. We won't get the glide slope just yet. We've got to wait a little bit for that, obviously. I'm going to go down to 200 knots now. Start slowing the plane down gradually. We'll go with flaps 5 as well. Speed brakes are armed and ready. Everything's looking good there. Do a quick recall check. Plane's all good. We should be able to see the airport and the runway soon. That's basically it. Can't quite see it yet, actually. There it is, actually. We're just turning on to final. So 28 left. That's the left runway there. That's the one we're aiming for. San Francisco traffic, Skyways 3109, established ILS 28 left, 16 miles to touchdown. Alright, cool. And then we'll sit here at this kind of speed for a little bit, and then we'll drop it to 180 knots after a little bit longer. Probably about 12 miles away I'll do it. Put this on the approach page, so then we can see the DME and how we're doing on the glide slope and everything. And I'll wrap this page onto map so we can keep an eye still on what we're doing. So you can see the DME is about 3 miles further than what the airport is. It's actually not that useful, to be honest. We're not. Oh, we are on the glide slope, even though the chart said it wasn't coming until about 1,800 feet. So we're captured. That's nice. It was, yeah. Well, I'm fine with that. And go around altitude is 4,000 here in San Francisco. Go ahead and set that. I'm going to go down to. Alright, we'll get this onto map page then. Why not? I'll keep on approach. Why not? We're all good then for landing. We'll wait to get a bit closer and then I'll probably take manual control of the aircraft a little bit early. Why not? We'll drop it to 180 knots now. And we can go flaps 15. It's the most we can go without deploying the gear. Landing speed is 138 knots. So that's in there, set. Haven't heard anything off anybody on Unicom, so I think we have the airport. American's just taken off. American 1893. But that's airborne, and I haven't heard anything off anybody on Unicom, so we'll assume that it's clear until we know otherwise. Obviously, we've informed everyone else of our intentions, that's the word. So everyone should know what I'm doing. It is quite a long approach. A lot of these airports in the US have that, where you're on the ILS for like 25 miles. Like in the UK or Europe, sometimes you'd only be on the ILS for like 8 miles. So I have enjoyed flying out in North America recently. I've been doing quite a few flights out there. It's also because it's where Fly UK does a lot of routes with their 757. With the Aurora franchise that they have. Right, I'll draw it to 160 knots now. Speed brakes are armed, everything's all ready to go now, that's great. We'll just wait for the speed to hit 160, then we'll drop the gear, and then we'll go flaps 20 for landing. And after that we'll go landing speed, which is VREF plus 5, so that's going to be 143. Actually, we'll set 138, that's fine. That's what I usually set in this aircraft. Oh, I think there was a bit of a weather update then. I don't know. The plane just moved suddenly. So the weather is kind of in between what the two reports were saying from earlier and the one from 15 minutes ago. So I guess I'll believe. I don't know. They're quite similar. 8 degrees, small crosswind, not too bad. San Francisco traffic. Skyways 3109 on final for 28 left. Right, drop the gear and down to 138 knots. And no one said anything on Unicom via text or via voice, so hopefully the airport's looking clear. You can see there are the 2 planes on the ground. There's another one somewhere, I think. There's 3 in total. Oh, no, there is only 2. So there's 2 planes on the airport. They're both over there, so they're not in our way. And disengage the autopilot. Well, plane just started steering the other way then. And take manual control of the throttles. And flaps 20 needs to be set. Oh, a bit oversensitive there on the yoke. Well, joystick for me, isn't it? We're a teeny bit high now because I've spent a bit of time sorting that out. But because we're a bit slow, we can descend quite easily, which is good.
1,000.
There you go. Back on course now. Happy lights are showing 2 white, 2 red. And we're good now. We're getting back on course with the glide slope, which is what we need. And speed is pretty much perfect. Getting blown, I don't know, it was initially a crosswind. It's calmed down now, the wind a little bit.
500.
There you go. Let's continue our approach. We're good. getting realigned with the glide slope now as well, which is nice. So we're pretty good.
Minimums.
Continue. And
100. 50. 40. 30.
there we go. Let's get a nice
20.
smooth touchdown if we can.
10.
There we go, that was nice and smooth. First is out. Use the rudder to get ourselves back on the centre line. Reverse is deployed. And 80 knots. Reverse is retracted, manual braking. And there we are. We are in San Francisco, everybody. Vacated on a taxiway that is closed. Oh. What? According to the chart, this taxiway is closed. Well, never mind. Line lights off. Weird, though, because it's not showing up as closed on the scenery, is it? There's no X's or anything. Right. Flaps up. Disarm the speed brakes. San Francisco traffic. Skyways 3109. Vacated 28 left. Taxi via Bravo. Taxi lane 7. Stand Echo 6. San Francisco traffic. Alright, there we are. Let's go ahead and stop the clock. 2 hours 13 minutes. In the end, about 15 minutes later than the plane itself said would be arriving, but bang on pretty much with what SimBrief said. So, thumbs up to SimBrief. Right, APU can come on. Get the flight directors off. Hello and welcome, everyone. We're here in the lovely San Francisco. That felt like a smooth landing. I think that was good. I think that was good. APU Jake, come on. Felt like a good one, that. Anyway.
San Francisco traffic, Pacific First, 626 taxis only. 01 right, via Mary.
That's off. The TCAS and the weather radar. And taxi lane 7 will be Delta, and then in here, so... And then stand Echo 6 we're looking for. I don't know how detailed this scenery is going to be, we'll see. Whether we'll have all the markings on the floor or anything, I don't know. I think we'll actually take 7 Bravo, not 7. It puts us a bit closer to our gate, so we don't have to taxi across multiple lanes then. Okay, they're not designated, the actual lanes, but they are here, which is good. And then we should see our stand on the left somewhere. Yeah, we're taxi... Actually, this is 7, according to the chart. This is taxi lane 7. I think it's actually... Yeah, this scenery might be slightly out of date or slightly wrong. Bit unusual for X-Plane, that. Right, let's just check. Oh, yeah, so this scenery is actually a little bit inaccurate. Because it's actually, on the chart, it's called Echo 6, this stand. And this is showing as stand 70. They must have had some recent changes here at San Francisco or something, because, yeah, this scenery is not the most accurate, but it doesn't matter. We'll taxi in anyway. The chart, though, is the parking stand chart hasn't been updated since August. I just checked then. I'll check what the change was in a minute once we have parked. And idle the power, parking brake set, and there we go. The change on the chart, by the way, I'm just checking, was notes. Oh, there was no change properly then, just some notes. So a bit weird. I don't know why the scenery is out of date. Maybe it's just how it's written on the chart, or maybe the scenery is just a bit wrong. It doesn't really matter. The actual main taxiways are still here, and the main gates are still here. Right. There you go. So it looks like Samuel Jetways is picking up the jetway. That's good. And APU gen is on, so we'll go ahead and turn off the engines. There we are. All good. And we want to go to airplane. We want to go to ground, GPU, and loader unit. Actually, no, not loader unit. That's not needed. And chocks are set. Parking brakes released. And the utility buses can come off. GPU power. Oh, I forgot actually. I did just go this in the middle of the flight. The GPU connector actually broke mid-flight, so because there are failures that can happen with this aircraft, that can happen occasionally. So we'll be staying on APU power. I've actually had that fault before, but I reset it because I wasn't sure what it was. This time I kept it, which is nice. But yeah, so we won't have any ground power, so we'll be staying on the APU for today. Bit unusual, but what are you gonna do? Packs can come off, trim air and reset fans off. This can come off. And the hydraulics can come off. Engine generators, fuel pumps, and beacon lights and all that can come off, which means we can go into, we can get rid of the GPU actually, go into gate config mode. That'll open the door that's got the jetway connected, and we'll open up the cargo doors, and there we are. And I just like to reset these dials back to what they started out the flight in sometimes. I don't always do it, but I feel like doing it today, why not? Oh, I'm in the wrong place, so it was zooming instead. There we go. All set then. I said, a bit weird we've got the APU turned on, but as I said, it doesn't appear that the ground power is going to work for us because of that fault that we had, so it doesn't matter. Maybe that's what that fault was about when we disconnected from the jetway in San Francisco when it randomly lost power, the aircraft. Maybe that's what that was. Anyway, there we are. We're all good. So not quite the state we'd usually have the aircraft, but that's what you got to have sometimes if you have a little failure like that. We did perform maintenance pre-flight, remember, so it's something that's happened during the flight. I didn't forget to do maintenance. And there we go. Everything's all done, all finished with. So we'll go ahead and go outside. Not the usual quietness I'm used to after a flight because the APU's on, but never mind. Hope everyone enjoyed this flight. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect from VATSIM and follow the flight with Fly UK. There we go. Lovely plane, this Aurora 757. I really like it. Really, really like it. Nice plane. Let's go cold and dark, actually. Why not? Off, off, off. There we go. Make it nice and quiet, can't it? I'm going to get the APU off. So there we go. That is everything. All finished with on today's flight. I'm happy with that. And we can leave it like that. So hopefully everyone enjoyed that. Obviously, this will be one of those Fly UK flying episodes, a little bit edited and all the rest of it. Hope you guys like that. And hope you guys look forward to more content. There'll be almost certainly some Bristol dirt content from NASCAR coming the day after this video, hopefully, if I can record some. I've done some practice. It feels pretty similar, post-patch versus pre-patch. They felt pretty much the same, and I like it a lot. I think it's so fun, those NASCAR Cup cars on dirt, so it gets a thumbs up from me. Anyway, hope everyone really enjoyed this video, and do consider liking, and if you really enjoyed, subscribing. Hope to see you in the next one, and bye-bye!